All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 54 of the Basketballists. We have a very special guest today. On the podcast, we always talk about different paths for basketball and how basketball take you very far and the different routes you can take in basketball. In my opinion, I feel like this person has one of the best stories as far as that, and I think it's time he said it for our eyes and our audience. So please welcome none other than Jayce McCain.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. Hey, y'all got a good little setup here, man. I didn't know we were coming this professional.
Well, well, this is actually our. This was a backup site.
Yeah, this is like impromptu.
Okay,
Yeah,
my fault. My fault.
yeah. So the other site we usually use is it's nice. It has good lighting. Because of we wanted to fit you in the with your schedule, so we had to scramble last minute to find something to make it happen. So we were able to get that done. That's why we're here, but. We appreciate you taking the time and making the time to talk to us for real.
No, for sure. Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, how this came about. I was down in Augusta, Georgia for junior EYBL, and I'm sitting at a game with the 15s, so the 8th grade team from last year. And, I'm supporting my guys. They're playing Georgia Stars. And Georgia Stars gave them trouble last year, so I knew it was going to be like a game that they were, like waiting for. They really wanted to like get at them again. Yeah. And I'm sitting on the sidelines. We came a little late, and I look over. I'm like, oh, yo, I know him. I said, I know that's Jared McCain's brother. I don't want to insult him because people get a little offended, but I'm like, I know that's him. I said, you know what? I'm a do it. So I was like, hey, how you doing? I know you're Jared's brother, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, what's your name again? He was like, Jayce. And I was like, there it is, Jayce. So from there, we kind of, made a little connection. We spoke, and I told him that I have a podcast, and I would love for him to be on. So that's how that came about.
That's dope.
No, for sure, man. Yeah, that was some good bump we were watching. And to speak on the Jared's brother thing, man, that's something that I just came to accept. And honestly, I love it, bro. Like, I love speaking about my brother. People, like, I appreciate you having that respect for, like, not wanting to disrespect me in that sense. But I love being known as Jared's brother, man. So I'm glad we made this connection. I'm glad to be here.
No, that's dope. And, again, like, we kind of, the whole thing with the podcast, right, the Basketballists, right, it's kind of a mix of words, like basketball scientists, right? And we kind of, the whole point of the podcast is just to have real talk, real life talk, hoops and beyond, and then just message to the younger generation about just doing things and kind of being about what you're saying. So the biggest thing is like when he told me that you guys connected, and then obviously we wanted to make sure we did our research, but just your story is an incredible in itself. So we just want to go back, right? How you started playing ball, how you fell in love with it, and then what kind of progressed and go from there.
Yeah. So you want me to just start from the beginning?
From the beginning, man. We wanna know the whole story.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my pops put the ball in my hands, put the ball in our hands, me and my brothers. Um, the fundamentals always working. He always made sure we could shoot the ball, and now you're seeing that translate to Jared in the NBA. But yeah, basketball was always number one. Played soccer growing up as well, but basketball was always a thing that we loved. Went to high school at Folsom High School in Sacramento. Had some health problems there. That's where my health problems began. I had myocarditis in my heart my junior year, so I sat out most of my junior year, which hurt my recruitment. Not saying that I would have played in the NBA by no means, but just I feel like I didn't reach my full potential. So I ended up playing Division II basketball at Cal State San Marcos, which was an elite experience, man. Great area, good basketball, and like people say, like you got to go where you're wanted, and I feel like I went somewhere where I got to hoop and do my thing, and won the school's first league championship. Was the number one seed in the Division II national tournament, and yeah, all throughout college, like I started to get the awareness that I don't really want to try to play professionally anywhere. but the biggest thing is I saw the potential in my brother, and I wanted to invest in that more so than my own career. And so my school was only 45 minutes away from where we lived, where Jared went to high school. And so I would drive every weekend back down to be with the fam and continue to develop Jared's career. And yeah, and that became kind of my purpose. You know, Jared's career gave me so much purpose, and just started investing in him, and now it's, you know, reaping the rewards of all the work that he's put in.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome, and like it gives a overview of everything. But I really want to go in depth. Like you said, you know, born in Sac, and you stayed home and played at actually Sac Country Day, right, and then Folsom. So I want to talk about, you know,
Hey,
like
y'all did your research.
absolutely. I had to. So I want to talk about that, like growing up in Sac and like what it was like who were you looking up to, like who were some of the guys you played with, like or if there was like we live here in Connecticut, and we always say that, like, you know, like it's important for the pros to come back and like show love to like the younger kids, to show an example, and I feel like sometimes we don't have that. But in a state like California, like I want to know how it was in Sacramento and like what it was like with your experience growing up and playing there.
And to piggyback off of that, like a lot of the kids in our area kind of live in this New England bubble, right? None of them know what's out there, and you know, there's always this conversation where the best basketball players come from, Texas, Cali, all this stuff. So again, we want to give everybody perspective, and like you've played against and played with really high level guys, so that's why we want to go in depth here, and you know, just obviously talking about that journey in that part of your journey. Sorry.
No, for sure. I mean, I think where everyone believes that where they come from has an underrated hoop scene, and Sacramento is no different. But we really don't get any recognition, and there's a multitude of reasons because of that. But I thought, you know, growing up, I don't know if y'all know the names, Jordan Ford, Noah Blackwell, possibly.
No,
Yeah,
no,
baby.
Noah Blackwell. I'm a little bit familiar with.
Like
Okay.
what
What
graduating
graduating
class
class
is
is
this?
this?
He's
They were
18.
class of
He's
2016, I believe.
Oh,
Noah
okay.
probably was
So that's my
2015.
year.
Yeah, I'm a little older. I'm a little
Yeah,
older.
there's a running joke.
There's-
There's a running joke on the podcast that Steve's like way older. It's not really the truth, but like I'm high school graduating class of 2016. He's class of
2011.
so like I just make it seem like he's way older than he is, but
No, we're considered unks now, man.
oh, it's actually
Pretty
crazy.
crazy.
It's insane.
Working with the you know, the Duke squad now, they call me Unk, and I'm like, damn, because I'm born in 1999. So they're like, you're born in the 90s, bro.
Yeah,
And so yeah, but yeah, no, I looked up to guys, you know, a few years older than me, Jordan Ford, Noah Blackwell. Those were the two that Jared and I looked up to probably the most in Sacramento basketball specifically. They went on to play Division I basketball, but it was a great hoop scene, and obviously there was a class of kids that was Jared's age and a few years older. Also, the name Devin Askew, y'all might have heard of.
Yep.
We grew up with them, and Isael Silva. There's just a bunch of kids from Sacramento that we all grew up with, and we created a good basketball culture out there. Our parents did. So yeah, I think it's an underrated hoop scene. But we felt like the best thing for Jared's development was to get out of Sacramento and go somewhere where there was more publicity, which was in Southern California. And yeah, that move really evolved Jared.
and so you talk about Sacramento and like uh, the Kings are there. You know, to have a professional sports team in your area in general, whether it's like women's or whatever, having a team there is important. Were you a Kings fan or were you a Lakers fan?
No, I absolutely was a Kings fan, but shoot, growing up, bro, it was hard to root for them because we was winning 20 games. Yeah, it was bad, but they even tried to move the team while we lived out there. But no, I still a Kings fan to this day. Me and Jared actually went to their first playoff game, and I think it was 2022 in our whole lifetime, and we had to go see it because, you know, we're big fans of the Kings, and so it's been good to see them evolve over the years. But yeah, it definitely, you know, growing up with a an NBA team in your city, it is huge to just look up to them and go to their camps and see them around the city and know that it's possible to make it.
And were you going to a lot of games, or were you like just watching a lot?
Yeah, we would probably go to like a couple a year. Tickets were definitely cheap, but we were still trying to save some money. But yeah, once again, it was hard to root for them. But some of our favorites were Mike Bibby, Tyreek Evans, DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, there were a lot of good players, but they weren't good teams. So yeah.
Now, I don't know how old you were. Again, I'm aging myself here because I was young. Did you get to watch them in the early 2000s at all? I mean, like not early, but like say we were 5 years old, right? 5, 6. Were you like watching them then when they were like still somewhat, solid?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I would say I recall watching like 2005, 2006, but not their glory days when they had Peja, Mike Bibby, Chris Webber, and all those guys. I was only think 2 or 3, so I know I was in front of the TV watching it, but had no recollection.
Yeah, no. I just had to ask because I was just like,
I wish, man.
But going back to like your playing career, in high school, when you transferred, correct?
Yes.
And then also AAU wise, let's go into that. Like what was the decision to transfer? Why? I think you played Oakland Soldiers, correct?
I played for 15s, and then 16s I played with Team Arsenal, which is a Adidas team in the Bay. 17s I played EYBL Nike Family with Marvin Bagley, probably the worst EYBL team of all time. Didn't win a game, and so we could definitely go into that. And then I finished off 17s with a local program called Lake Show. But I transferred from Sacramento Country Day to Folsom. Sacramento Country Day is a Division 6 school in California. And it's exactly, I know each state is different with how they do divisions, but it's exactly what it sounds like. It was the lowest division in our area. And it was good for my first 2 years. I got to play varsity and, got to develop my game because you have the ball in your hand since day one as a freshman. But once I got to my, after I finished my sophomore year, it was time for me to, go up against the best competition, which Folsom is always one of the best teams in the Sacramento area. And so just wanting to play against better competition, that's what went into that transfer while I was in high school.
And so what was that jump from Division 6 to
open division, we call it, which is higher than Division 1, which is like all the best teams,
right.
Sierra Canyon, Harvard Westlake, all the biggest teams you guys probably know.
Yeah. I mean, in Connecticut, we have, 5 divisions?
I mean, it used to be, I think it's 5 now,
yeah. Do y'all call it division, or do y'all call it class or anything?
Well, it used to be divisions. It used to be classes. Now it's divisions. It used to be like Class M, whatever, but now it's like Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, Division 4. Yeah. So we know about the lower levels and what it.
The levels to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice though because everybody gets the opportunity, like you said, to grow and like formulate their game, and they do get a championship at the end of the year. So like you're working towards something. So it is good to see. I want to talk about the transferring thing because I think a lot of kids are in a situation where their parents kind of don't understand basketball as much as them, or understand like the workings around basketball, and being in a household that was comfortable with you. Knowing like, okay, no, this is what's best for him and he would like to do this and we want to support him. I want to talk about that, like your support system and what it was like to transfer. Like, did you get any pushback? Was there any like, oh, like, I don't think this is what we need to do? Like
conversation with your parents. Yeah.
Like, what was it like?
Nah, for sure. I mean, anyone that has heard Jared or I talk about our parents know that we believe we got the best support system, like you said. Ever. Like they support anything we want. And my parents were the first ones to be like, no, we got to get out of here because we got to get better competition. We know, what levels you want to reach. And so they were all in support of it. And we even bought a house in Folsom so that we could complete the transfer, because how they do it in California, you have to live in that school district if it's a public school. And so we went. My parents went as far as selling the house, buying a new house in Folsom, just so I could attend Folsom to get better competition and grow.
No, that's huge, and that's huge. And then personal thing. We always talk about this. I mean, what's the rule? Because it's technically what, a private school or a public school? It's a public school.
Folsom is public.
Folsom was a public. Country Day was a private.
So
yeah, Folsom's public.
This is, I mean, we always talk about reclassification. Like, was that a conversation at all as well? I mean, obviously you were in the private to public then, but is that common? Is it? I mean, was it common during your time there in that I guess era?
There was definitely people starting to do it. I feel like I'm so old now. Like it wasn't. It like for my situation, it wasn't thought of. And my friends, it wasn't really thought of. But my parents learned from my journey that Jared, because he reclassed in seventh grade and repeated seventh grade, and so we always joke about how I was like the testing rat, the test dummy, pretty much. I went through all the trials and tribulations to formulate Jared's perfect path. And but yeah, for myself, we never really thought about reclassifying, but knew that it would be very beneficial to Jared's career.
No, and that's good. And then my next question would be like, for you, right? Where did you see your path, your career? What triggered in your head that you decided to want to go pursue the D2 route, or what was that your level that you felt that you were at, or was that the only looks you were getting? Like, what happened for you in your recruitment process?
Yeah. So, growing up, you're like, I'm going to Division I, I'm going to Duke, or I'm going to Kentucky. But you always got to have the awareness to be realistic. And so I played in the EYBL first two sessions with Nike Family, with Marvin Bagley. And I started looking at the coaches, where the coaches sit, and it's like, Coach K, Tom Izzo, Coach Calipari. And that's like, and I noticed, I had a few games where I played well in the EYBL, but other games I would go scoreless or 2, 3, 4 points. And I started realizing, I was like, I'm not going to get recruited by these guys. So I kind of developed that self-awareness and was like, after those two sessions, me and my family thought it would be best to go to a local club where there would be more opportunities for Division II, Division III, maybe lower major Division I schools to get a look at me. Because on the EYBL, at least at my games, it felt like it was only high major teams. And, I wanted to get a scholarship, and I didn't want my parents to have to pay for college after all they've done for, me and my brother growing up to get us to this point. That's always been the goal. And so, yeah, I just started. It's obvious once like the calls you start getting. I started getting a lot of Division IIs, a few low major Division Is recruiting, and you kind of get a sense of, okay, this is where I'm at, and let's just find the best situation within those opportunities.
And then, sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No,
with that, like, again, because I'm in it, like, I'm a coach at a boarding school, but I also do player development on the private side.
You can say the school, man. Bump your gums a little bit, man.
I'm at the school in the NEPSAC. It's one of the top leagues out here on the East Coast.
South
Kent.
Yeah, bro, you got to flex a little bit, man.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell them. Like, say the school.
No, but the thing is, it's like it's a higher level, but I'm rambling now. I forgot. There was a question I had. No, there we go. Sorry. Coming back to it. What were you looking for? Because going through it, like with coaches in a school, what were you looking for? And how did you know that was the right place for you?
Yeah. So Division II is different. Like I wanted a full scholarship.
Right.
And so pretty much every school that offered a full scholarship, those were my top, if I had a Tipton edits of a top 5 Division II schools, those were my top 5, all the full scholarships, because some D2s, they only get like 8 full scholarships. And sometimes coaches will, divide that up and give partials to everyone, but I was like, I want the whole thing, pause. But yeah, I wanted to, earn a full scholarship. And then I also we kind of knew that our lives were going to migrate to Southern California. And so Cal State San Marcos is in San Diego. And I just loved it. Was right by the beach, great vibes. Um, and then they had just had an elite point guard that is still playing overseas. And I saw the way he played and how the coach kind of gave him the keys. And he kind of promised me that to an extent. And so I thought it was a no-brainer.
So following your journey, I feel like there's some unexpected turns and trials and tribulations that happen. So like you said, you kind of came down with some unexpected illness in your junior year, and then it also led into your freshman year of college and not playing. So, and then later on, COVID hitting while you're in college. So like, talk about like all those different, all those different, like almost like, it's like not even in your control, like all those different like roadblocks and how you navigated through that and like how you were able to deal with them to progress and finish out your career.
No, for sure. A lot of trials and tribulations. But yeah, junior year, the doctors thought I had a heart problem, myocarditis, inflammation around my heart. So yeah, like I said, I sat out my junior year, and then senior year, it went well in high school, but I still just didn't feel 100%. And then I got into my freshman year of college at Cal State San Marcos, was doing the preseason work condition. And I would get tired during the warmups, bro. I was done after high knees. And then, my coach yelling at you like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, something's definitely wrong. So I remember Halloween night, I couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe. So the next morning, called my coach to take me to the ER, and the ER is doing a bunch of tests to figure out what's going on. They were about to let me go, and fortunately, I had one of my best friends, Devin Askew's mom, who's also a doctor. She said, check his D dimer, which looks for blood clots in your lungs or blood clots in your bodies. And that's exactly what I had. I ended up having one blood clot in each lung, and that's why I couldn't breathe. And that was very difficult to deal with because it was the first time where I wasn't playing basketball, since I was 4, and I redshirted, and you're just contemplating life. And that during that time was also a time to reflect and think about, what do I want? What is my purpose in this life? And that's when I started to form the idea to let me invest as much as I can into Jared. I know I keep on bringing up Jared, but obviously our stories are so intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so it was most likely blood clots the whole time since my junior year that were just building up. And the doctor was like, if we didn't find this as quickly as we did, it could have gotten bad. They could have continued to grow and grew, and could have been life threatening. But I'm so blessed, thank God, every day to be alive and still here, a part of this journey. And but yeah, after 6 months of blood thinners, I was good to go. And so I played 1 year, and then COVID hit, and then it's like, oh, here we go, and that's another reflection point. For a year, we were the only conference, I think, in Division I, Division II that didn't play that year at all. We didn't play any games. I wasn't on campus, so once again, that was another year for me to invest in Jared and continue to develop him. And then I played 2 years after that, and then so I had 1 year after. I only played 3 years of college basketball. I had 1 year left, but then I decided to take the GA opportunity at Duke and go with Jared. But COVID was a great time for us, for my family. I know it wasn't a great time for most families, but for our family, that's when we just completely locked in as a family. Like, no, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do all we can to get Jared to where he wants to get to.
Yeah, no, that's great. I wanna talk about like your psyche and like how you were feeling during like when you were having the blood clots, and you're like, yo, like they keep telling me like keep going, but I'm trying to keep going, but it's not working. Like I want to talk about that, but before you do, I it's ironic that you said like COVID was like a pivotal time for you, because we low-key like met during COVID, like locked in during COVID. So like COVID for us was also like kind of like that. Okay, like this is a thing. Like we're we're going in the same path, and we need to keep going and keep like fostering this relationship. So I find that funny that you're saying that like that was like kind of like the best thing for your family, because I feel like this is my family too. So this is like that was the best thing for our family as well. But Steve is very big on like mental health and stuff like that. So I want to say like when you were going through it and like you said, like you're playing basketball your whole life, and you're like, I know I could keep going. Like, am I just like, for lack of a better term, am I just being a bitch? Like, am I not like, you know, like just giving more? Like, what was going through your head when this is happening?
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, everything. Oh, you know, yeah. Am I being soft? Am I, you know, yeah. All that was going through my head, and it felt like God was trying to send me a message to stop playing basketball. You know, all those things are going through your head, and you're losing confidence because you're like, oh, people are getting better than me while I got to sit out. All of that, and that's during those time periods of reflecting, I that's when I really got into the mental health part of it and started to meditate, started to journal and say our affirmations, pray to God, reading the Bible. Um, yeah, that's when I really got in tune with my spirituality, I feel like. And I really do feel like everything happens for a reason. And sometimes we got to listen to what the universe or God is telling us. And I felt like I took the right path. I felt like it was obvious that for me, like, oh, maybe making it to the NBA or playing overseas isn't meant for me. And it's to help others in another way. And yeah.
And you being able to, like, obviously it's not with everybody, but you being self-aware of that is such a crazy thing. Like, it's hard now. Like, I try to give these kids tools and the resources to kind of like understand it's just bigger than basketball, right? Like, basketball should be used as a tool, right? Yes, you love it, you want to get to the highest level possible, but it's also the other little things that come with it, which is like the hard work, the dedication, the relationships you build with people, like all those things. Because when you're in it, you're not thinking about all those things. Like, obviously certain events kind of bring you to reality, and then you obviously unfortunate circumstances, but it also helped you fine tune yourself as a human being, and now you're a better overall person, which is so huge. Now with that, right, how do you feel like these tools have kind of now put you in a position to kind of continue to help the next generation? Like, how have you grown even more since then?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, yeah, I feel like I've grown so much, bro. And yeah, like when you're growing up, all you're thinking about is, did I play well this game? Did I score this amount of points? And and obviously that's not what it's about. And now I'm so locked in on helping people, helping the youth, helping, now that I'm on staff at Duke, helping the players in any way I can. Yeah, I've just grown to realize that my purpose is about helping others and giving them tools that I wish I had growing up. And, yeah, just continuing to find ways how I can be as helpful to people as possible.
Yeah. So part of this podcast also is like realizing your opportunities, and like you said, you did realize kind of early. Some people realize kind of late that school basketball wasn't the option, but you did say that getting a full ride was super important. And through my research, I saw that you graduated high school with like a 3.7, and then you went on to
San Marcos
for psychology.
Yeah.
Psychology. So how important was getting your education, and how important was realizing that you're getting free school and utilizing that opportunity for free school?
Yeah, no, it was huge growing up. My parents stressed education and academics, and Jared and I were always top of the class. Always, not saying we were the smartest, but we just, we put effort into it. And so, and our parents also always wanted us to obviously get a scholarship, so they didn't have to pay. But they were always willing to help if that wasn't the case. But yeah, being in college, it was like I'm graduating. I'm gonna get great grades because I might want to do a graduate program, which I ended up doing at Duke, and made sure to keep my grades high just in case an opportunity like I got at Duke um, presented itself, and it did, and so it helped to build those habits of working, putting in effort into school, and building a schedule and doing everything that it takes to be a good student. And it paid off when I applied to grad school and I got in.
And going along with that, right? Was psychology something you wanted to go into because of things that happened in your life, or was it just something that was interesting to you?
Yeah. So actually, I forgot. I changed majors by my sophomore junior year, and I ended up doing communications. But no, I definitely wanted to do psychology because uh, I wanted to learn more about the brain, and over the years, I've learned so much. And y'all have probably seen Jared's path too. Like he's very in tune with his spirituality and
Mhm.
like positive thinking and how to keep good mental health. But yeah, that was definitely part of that decision
And being
initially.
and then being a GA now, like what? Well, I want to go into GA period, but
Mhm.
what are you studying? Are you building off of it to eventually one day be a head coach? Or you're trying to get your master's with something that'll be beneficial to coaching, or is it something quote unquote more practical, like I don't know, business or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. So I ended up graduating last spring from a program called Graduate Liberal Studies, which is very open ended. And but it was perfect for what I wanted to do because I knew I wanted to do basketball. But this allowed me to take classes in the business school, to allow me to take classes on psychology, very open ended, and it's kind of like create your own path. And it was an awesome program, and yeah, so it was just all encompassing during my GA experience. And yeah, I love the GLS program.
So Jared has been very documented on being very like goal driven and like writing down what he wants. Is that something you guys discovered together? Or is that something he took from you and something that he learned from you?
It feels like it's something that we discovered during a similar time during COVID. But yeah, it's definitely something that we discuss ad nauseum. I feel like, um, I always like to know what his goals are so I can pray about them, so I can visualize them. Um, and I feel like the more people that are in tune with your goals and what you want to accomplish, like, my parents are and I am with Jared's goals, the more realistic they can become. And yeah, I think we discovered it during a similar time, just reflecting because you had all this time during COVID.
Yeah. So I'm a older brother as well. Me and my brother are 10 years apart, and
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah. So I definitely pick on him a lot, but I pick on him because like you said, like I was the test dummy. So I do have an older sister, but like I'm the first guy, so it's like I was the test dummy. So I know certain things that he needs to do if he wants to get to a certain location. Was it like that with you and Jared, or was he always like so stoic as he is now?
No, for sure. I mean, I picked on Jared so much. It was like we used to fight every single day, and we just play ones every day. And older brother, you're just gonna dominate him and foul him and mess with him in every way possible. And so constantly made him cry. I like to say that helped him become a dog that he is on the court. Um, but yeah, definitely like, and as he got older, that goes away to an extent.
Mhm.
But yeah, constantly trying to improve him, and like maybe it came off in a negative way at times, but I feel like it got the point across, and that's the biggest thing as an older brother.
Yeah, I feel like I feel that completely because like he really doesn't think I'm like and then it's today's age, right? Oh, I'm a hater. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, bro, like you gotta understand, like, and 10 years is so crazy because I really am unk technically to him, like, so it's like he really doesn't understand, but it's like even certain things like he'll go to a workout with Steve and it's free. I'm like, bro, like that right there is something I did not have. Like, and he's like, oh, okay. Like, and I'm like, he just doesn't understand it, but I'm trying to get him to like be grateful for the opportunities that he's getting, because I had to fall like 20 times just so this can happen for you. Or like certain situations where like I'll walk into a gym and they'll be like, oh wait, this is your little brother? And I'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, oh, okay, no, he's good. And I'll be like, yo, like, and you don't know my story, but I didn't play anywhere. I didn't want to go, but like in our area, like I was cool. So it's like he gets to do certain things because of me, and like, you know, he says thank you, but it won't. I don't think it'll really hit till like he like gets to an age where he was like, damn, like, nah, I really like, you really did like get me through a lot of stuff. So I know what that's like to really like pick at him to get him to where he needs to go.
And it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like they'll talk and argue, and then I get a call from either him or his little brother, and they're like, Steve, what do you think? I'm like, yo, dude. I'm just like, yo, oh my God.
Yeah, like
just listen to him.
I'll call him all the time.
I'm just like, yo, you got to listen to him. Stop being a hardhead. But, you know, again, it's just like, again, I had two little brothers. One, I kind of pushed. Unfortunately, I was too hard on him. I pushed away from basketball. And then my youngest brother didn't play sports. So that's why, in terms of like those things, I've learned as becoming a player development coach how to kind of navigate different characters, different you know, personalities, and kind of be able to talk to them. So like when he kind of is hard on him and like gets on, I'm like, yo, I try to put in a different perspective for him and just be like, yo, like.
So sometimes it's not my fault though, because I feel like it's weird. Like I'm turning 27 in September, right? But like the people that coach me are like super old school. So like I only know basketball through an old school perspective. Like very fundamental, very like tough nose, very like get on the floor, get dirty. Like that's the way I was taught. So like when my brother's coming at me, I'm like, yo, like you just being soft. Like I don't know how to like formulate it into anything other than you're being soft. So like I understand him, but like work harder. Like I hear what you're saying, but like just work harder. Like I don't know. So it's like I try sometimes, but like I can only see basketball through my eyes, and doing photography and videography right now and like seeing other kids, I do see basketball way differently, but my mindset on basketball is always going to be like me as a player. So is that similar for you? Like now being in a GA position and basically seeing the highest level besides NBA, like do you still see it as a player sometimes, or are you now like can see it from a step back view?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot y'all just said that I would like to touch on, but no, I'll answer that question first. Yeah, I definitely see the game from a different perspective now that I wish I had as a player. Just because, you know, you watch so much film and you're watching from a coach's perspective now. So yeah, I definitely see it at a better perspective, I would say. But yeah, for Jared, it's fun. Like for Jared, once he hit 7th grade, he was self-motivated, dude. Like it was like, yeah, like I remember when I was in high school, I would want Jared to come rebound for me, and I would want to rebound for each other. He would not want to go to the gym, and I was like, damn, he might just not have it. The flip switched, and I got to give a lot of credit to Devin Askew for showing Jared, because he was like, you know, the top point guard in the 2021 class, and it kind of put in Jared's mind that he could be an elite player because it's someone that we grew up with. But yeah, once Jared hit 7th grade, a flip switched, and he was so self motivated that I didn't even have to, like, really, my parents and I didn't even have to, you know, encourage him to work hard. He was waking up at 5 a.m. He started developing habits and routines that were like that pros wouldn't even do, and that's why he's where he's at now. And so he was like, I hate like feeling like I'm taking credit for his success.
No, you
I feel like I was definitely part of it, but he was so self-motivated at an early age that me and my parents love to talk about it all the time. It was like, this is crazy. He just wants it that bad, dude.
So, and then here's a big thing that I talk about, I think, and this generation lacks. You know, obviously with the reclassing and kids playing quote unquote down, but now we're starting to see the top players reclass up. with Jared being younger, did you bring him with you to play like pickup or go to like games and stuff, men's leagues or whatever it was? Did you guys play with older people to help your game progress?
For sure. Yeah. Jared was always playing ones with like my group of friends, or we're working out with a trainer and he's the youngest on the court, and then we play fives, and he's crying and struggling to an extent. But yeah, dude, I'm yeah, especially when I have kids, I'm gonna make them play up as much as possible, because it's just, you learn some things that you can't get from playing your age or playing below your age. So I definitely think that helped him progress into the player he is today. You saw it with LaMelo Ball. There's so many examples of that, playing up and becoming a better player because of that.
This just popped into my head too. In the Cali scene, like, do kids play outside? Like, is it like, at least like
nicer.
Growing up here, like when I was younger, like we played outside all the time. And then like
it's kind of
I've gotten older, I've seen that they're not playing outside as much, but they are getting into gyms, but gyms aren't as accessible. So I feel like they're like, oh, if we can't get a gym, we probably just won't play. Or like, oh, if we can't get in with the trainer, then we'll probably just take this day off. So like, have you seen that in your area, or is it?
Nah, dude. And even me growing up, like, played at the park a few times, but it wasn't something that we were consistently doing. And we were privileged enough to have access to a gym almost every day. So definitely recognizing that privilege, because I know a lot of kids don't have that. But no, I do feel like kids need to play more. And like you said, like, I won't do anything if I don't work out with a trainer. These kids need to I feel like the feel for the game is lacking with this generation. And I think playing more outside even, and playing as much as possible, not just working on your game, training drills. I think that needs to continue to, I think players need to do that more often.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I talk about it all the time. It's not that, quote unquote, they need to play more. I think it's just they need to be able to play free basketball, not so much organized AAU. Yeah, so they can kind of explore and see what player they can possibly become, because as especially when they're in middle school and earlier in high school, like, you're still figuring out who you're becoming, right, as a player, as a person. So that's I think the issue right now that I see is just like too much structure. I mean, yeah, you need to know how to play basketball, and I think coaches need to be better at the AAU level in the general population, not the top of the top, just the general population. But that's why, I think we progress so fast, and we have what we have was because we played up, we played with the older guys, the former players that went corporate, come home to the gym or go outside after work to want to play. We don't see that anymore. And I think obviously with what you guys probably went through was, you guys did it, and then now you're seeing again the rewards of how fast you were able to progress. Jared was able to progress, become the players that you are. And don't know really where I'm going with this, but I did have a question. I don't know if Ralph has anything.
Jared and you, like you said, during COVID, formed that relationship and really like locked in the gym. I want to talk more on like what it was like in the gym, because I think a lot of kids are like, oh yeah, I'm training, but like, what does it look like? So I like, take me through. And like, was it you bringing stuff to Jared, or was it Jared saying, no, I need to work on this and this, and can we do this? And you're like, okay, like, let's do this and this. Like, how collaborative was it, and like, what did it look like from your standpoint and from his standpoint?
Yeah, like your player development style that you guys kind of figured out.
No, for sure. Yeah, so the first couple of months of COVID, we were actually outside because all gyms in California were closed. But it was pretty simple. It was, work on handles for 10 minutes, finishing at the rim for 10 minutes, then, working on the mid-range game, floaters, different footworks to get to, mid-range shots. And then we'll shoot threes, for the longest, because, that's where we knew the game was going. And that's what Jared would have to be elite at. And so, and then we would play ones after, for hours, and we just stay at the park. And and fortunately for us, we have an elite player, or Jared has an elite player development coach, and Shea Frazee, who
I'm
he's
familiar
been
with the
elite,
name.
and you know who that is, Steve?
Yeah, yeah. Familiar with the
Yeah,
name, yeah.
yeah. No, I think, I mean, he's one of the better player development coaches in the country, and he has a very good track record. But pretty much religiously, just like doing what Shea Frazee told us to do during COVID, and he's sending us different workouts and different shooting workouts. Doing all that stuff really helped Jared evolve into the player he is. And just the biggest thing was staying consistent. I mean, I know there's trainers out there who don't do the best stuff, but and maybe it's not the most productive. They're working on bullshit. But I think the biggest thing for kids is just being consistently in the gym. Like as long as you're getting shots up, going game speed, like I prefer that than not going to the gym at all and not being consistent. And Jared was just super consistent with an elite player development coach and player development plan that he progressed well.
And I want to also go into another aspect. So we've kind of covered the mental side, skill wise. Now, physically, what did you guys do? Like, did you guys have a player development? Player development, like a performance coach, to work on lifts, flexibility, muscle recovery, nutrition, stuff like that? Did you guys have access to that, or did you something you guys kind of did research on your own as well? Like, how did that how was that incorporated into your guys' workout plans?
For sure. So during COVID, we were just doing, YouTube lifts and YouTube basketball lifts. But a couple months in, we got the connection for to work with, or Jared did specifically to work with Paul Fabrice,
Yep.
PJF Performance, who I think is once again he's one of the great minds in strength and conditioning, and so definitely need to recognize that privilege. Jared has Shea Frazee and Paul Fabrice at 15 years old, who I think are, like I said, some of the best minds in the world. And so he started working out there, and yeah, his body changed. He kind of used to be a little chunky. He had a little baby fat, when he was 14, 15, and then he just started, really working and got more athletic laterally and vertically. The body got stronger. And so just sticking to that plan, the player development stuff with Shea, and then the strength and conditioning stuff with Paul Fabrice, once again, built him into the player he is now.
Um,
Yeah. So as you've been along with Jared's story the whole time, so high school, he gets all the accolades. He kills. Like you're with him. College, he gets there first year, he kills, and like, everyone's kind of like, oh, like where'd he come from? I know, like from your standpoint, it was like, oh, I knew he could do this all along. When he then gets drafted by the Sixers, which is amazing accomplishment, and I know you were there and you were able to experience that. Was there any doubt in your mind the performance and the season that he would have for the Sixers that first year? Because I think everyone else was taken by like surprised by it, but I'm sure that was something that like, you're like, no, that's Jared. That's what he does.
Yeah, bro. I mean, at every stage, he surprised me and my family. Like, obviously, we believe in him more than anyone, but it's just like, it seems like things just like perfectly aligned for him. Like, because like, I don't think I don't think he was going to play. I don't think Coach Nurse had him in the rotation initially, which it was understood. They're trying to win a championship, and they got all these older veterans. But then, unfortunately, all these guys get hurt. Jared steps in, and we always talked about like at some point Jared's going to get his opportunity, and you just got to be ready for it. As corny as it sounds, it's real. And he worked his butt off, throughout the season, and then that opportunity finally came. He took full advantage of it, and so I I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely shocked. I can't sit here and tell you guys like, oh, I knew he was gonna, get 30 a couple times. I no way. It was amazing to watch in Durham while I was at Duke.
and yeah, I want to go back on that before we
Mm-hmm.
touch on the NBA part. What was that year like for both of you at Duke?
Yeah, it was awesome. So the whole family moved out there because I got the opportunity to be a GA. So there was like we're very close knit family. So we all moved out there. My mom, my dad, my brother and I, and yeah, every day, dude. Like in the summer, we worked out at 6 a.m. every single day. Took Sundays off, but 6 a.m. 6 days a week. Then Jared would practice, and then we'd shoot some more. And so he was grinding. So it makes sense why he had the year he had. And obviously, once games started, and seeing the results from the work that he put in, during the summer, during the preseason, seeing it translate to, him scoring 35 at Florida State, him scoring 30 against JMU in the tournament, and then, just having great games overall. There was nothing like it, dude. For me and my family to be there together and witness it, yeah, that was a special year, man.
You want to?
All right, you keep going.
So like, because this is where I get like interested, and because again, as much as we want to talk about, Jared and you, like I think we want to focus on you. Like, what does a GA at Duke? What are your responsibilities? Obviously, your brother, you had to take care of him, but then you also had to help the other guys on the team as well. So like, where was that balance? And then what are you doing on a day in, day out basis? Like for me, this is the other option, like opportunity to show athletes that get to listen to us. Like there's obviously the other route to, being, all right, I don't want to play pro. I want to be a coach. How does that happen? Like what entails, like what groundwork do I need to do? So I want to be able to ask you, being at one of the top institutions in the world, what are you doing on a day in, day out basis as a GA?
Yeah. So I think the GA experience is subjective to each school. Duke, I was one of the first Duke GAs. Um, they didn't have too many GAs before me, if any. And because Duke is, we're very privileged and we have enough money to fund positions, for jobs instead of just giving it to a graduate assistant. So I was one of the first, and what I so initially the way I explain it, it's kind of like what do you make out of it? And so you're helping out with drills. You're also very much so a practice player, pretty much, because now that you got to pay NIL money to practice players, the finesse is, get graduate assistants that are good enough.
Wait, that's
Yeah,
a
no, that
thing now?
it's we could talk about that too.
That's
So
insane.
yeah, I was pretty much a practice player. So I would just, be trying to fry them dudes in practice, fry my own brother in practice sometimes. Uh, but then there's also a film aspect of it. And, learning that side of it is huge. If you ever want to be a coach, you need to learn how to work sports code and synergy. And I wanted to get into the player development side. So I would ask to train other kids as well, within the program. And yeah, so it's all encompassing, and also whatever duties our coaches needed, in those 2 years. Like, you got to be willing to do the dirty work. Sometimes you might have to wipe a floor, get water for a player, go run this errand. A lot of miscellaneous stuff, but yeah, it's pretty much what you make of it. And my 2 years being a GA, I feel like I made the most of it.
That's huge. That's huge.
So when you spoke about film, when you are watching film, like what are you looking for specifically? Like is it like just the scouting report of the other team, or is it tendencies? Is it just like schemes? Like what exactly are you looking at when you're watching film? Because we talk about it all the time. Like I see the game differently when I'm recording versus him when he's on the sidelines coaching versus us when we're sitting in the stands watching as a fan. So when your sole job is to look back at the film, like what are you looking for? Because I know there's certain things that don't pop out. Like you don't know that the guy in the first row was heckling. You don't know that the other guy fouled out in the third quarter. So like what are you looking at, and like what are some of the things that you're keying in on?
For sure. I think there's so many ways to watch film. So as a GA and being a member of the scout team, I would watch film to try to emulate, the other team as much as possible. If I got to be Elliot Cadeau for this scout, just trying to emulate his moves and what his tendencies are. Now being on staff at Duke, I'm doing a lot of recruiting. Like when you saw me,
Mm-hmm.
um, So I'm watching, whether they can play at our level, how competitive they are, their positional size, their feel for the game, just like specific things that we look for a Duke basketball player. And there's just so many ways to watch basketball too. Like, and if we're scouting opponents, like what are they best at? Like, what advantages are they best at creating, and how we can limit those advantages, and how we can create advantages against them. There's just so many different ways to watch basketball from an evaluation standpoint if you're trying to recruit, or you're trying to scout an opponent. So there's just so many different ways.
And I think that's huge. Again, just like trying to get players to understand that, like, to get a competitive advantage, it's all these little things. And again, we bring people such as yourself on to, one, hear it from somebody else who's gone through it and going through it and doing it and helping players at the highest level, right? So, if I see kids, once a week, and they're tired of me saying the same message, hopefully they hear this from you, and they're like, oh, okay. Like we talk about, like, being able to say the same message 100 different ways. And I think that's so important. Just being able to simplify stuff and have this generation process it a little bit better. Yeah. Just the age of quote unquote TikTok, the
YNs,
the TikTok mindset, where it's just like quick, short attention spans, and trying to get them to, like, hey, film might take 30 minutes, to an hour. Like, you got to be able to sit there and focus. And I think that's, working with high-level elite athletes like you have, like, how have you seen, or are those players already accustomed to that, or is that something you see they have to adjust to?
It's definitely an adjustment, but we recruit such high character guys so that, they can adjust quickly, and they're usually pretty ready for the level of film work, the level of physical work, or player development work, whatever it is. They're ready for what we need to do, what we need them to do, because they're such high character, and that's just who they are as competitors.
And I do want to just ask this, whatever information you can give us, what would be a typical day? And we'll use your brother for example. Like, what kind of day did he have while in college, like from a basketball standpoint, workout standpoint, to classes, just so people can hear it too?
Yeah. So I'll go when they were in school. He would we would get a workout in the morning, and then he would usually have classes. Workout in the morning at 6. He would have classes from like 8 to 2 in that window. Having maybe an hour or two off and get lunch in between those classes, and then practice would start 2 to 5. And after that, we'd get another workout in, and then sometimes he'd have classes after that. And this is all subject to change too. Like, he might have a NIL shoot as well, so we might not be able to work out in the morning. So we'll go out later at night. But yeah, definitely trying to get 2 workouts a day, and also, well, the biggest thing is listening to his body too. Like, that's something that kids need to know too. If your body's hurting, you might need to take a day off. But what are you doing? Are you being proactive with that day off? Jared is very big into the recovery stuff. So are you ice bathing? Are you getting the Normatec? Are you getting a massage? Are you doing yoga? Are you stretching? All those things to make sure your body's right. And so that would also be infiltrated into that schedule in some form.
So essentially you guys, college athletes now, I mean, we talk about this all the time. They're pro athletes, so you have to treat your body as such. But the sooner that a younger athlete can understand that process, the better off they are. Is that from what you've seen?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And like we used to say like Jared's whole day is structured around how can I be the best basketball player possible? Like everything he does, everything he eats, every time he works out, when he's meditating, like just throughout his day is structured to reach that full potential as a basketball player.
Yeah, I mean, to go back on the recruiting, like, how early are you recruiting certain kids? like, and then what are like non-negotiables? Like he has to do these 3 things, or he has to fit this. Obviously, body type and things like that. That comes with the level of player that you're trying to recruit. But as far as like the standard, like I don't know how tall he is. I don't know how well he could shoot or whatever. Like these are the 3 things that he has to have to stand out in order to get interest from somebody recruiting.
For sure. Yeah, we'll start recruiting. Like we just started looking at the 2028s. Like I was at the Georgia Stars Lightning game. So those are rising. They're about to be sophomores. And so yeah, that's when we'll usually start. I know some schools may start earlier, but we'll usually start around then. And but a lot can change from then. It doesn't matter, if you had a bad EYBL season as a 15U player, so much can change. So don't worry about that. But the second part of that, I don't want to give up too much of what we're looking for, but
just like in general, whatever you can say.
No, yeah. I mean, it's like what's your motor like? Like how competitive are you, and how consistent is that motor on a game-to-game basis? Like that's huge for us. And obviously, if you look at this is obvious. If you look at our past couple teams, positional size has been huge for us, and being able to switch 1 through 5, and can you guard multiple positions? That's huge for us. And then there's obviously a certain skill level you have to be in, and we really value shooting. So working on that as much as possible at a young age, even that's huge. And then you have to be a high character kid, and obviously be a good student. It sounds like a lot, and we're very privileged that we get to get the players that we receive. But I would say those are the major factors.
Yeah. I mean, you got one more?
We have to wrap up soon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because we're in a new spot. If we were at our old spot, you can
stretch it a little bit.
We can stretch it a little bit, but just your thoughts, because your brother went through it. I don't know. I think you may have missed the window for NIL. What was that like? What is that like? Did you guys sign with an agency? How does that affect you guys getting players? Like, it's a whole new game, right? And again, you don't have to divulge any sensitive information, but how has that changed? How's that change everything in terms of just like this current segment in this generation of basketball?
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing, and it's definitely something we discuss as a staff. Some kids and their families, they want as much money as possible. And sometimes we might not think, your value is what an SEC school is offering. And so that's a huge part of roster construction. And I think the biggest thing for families to understand and players to understand is, what's going to be the best option for them in the long run. Like not what's going to get you the fastest money as soon as possible. What's going to prepare you to be an NBA player, or what's going to prepare you to be a productive citizen in society, like a Duke degree can provide you. Not trying to sell us right now to any recruits, but
you want to have all our guys to go to Duke.
yeah, but no, it's a huge part of it, because it brings a whole different element. If a kid is asking for too much and we can't provide that, it's like, we really want the kid, but it's just like we can't do that. And that goes into the character too. If all you care about is money, then
not the place.
A specific school might not be for you.
Right. Yeah. And then with that, like, what did you guys have an agent for Jared for that, or did you guys keep it in house with the family dealing with it? Like, I don't know. Like, you see some things where like there's certain families that have, mom or brother, sister kind of do the negotiation stuff. So that's why I was just curious on that front for you guys.
No, yeah, Jared signed with Excel Agency, who's it's one of the bigger agencies. He signed with them, I believe, maybe junior summer. Yeah, junior summer, and they've been awesome. And so they made it really easy to navigate the NIL space when he was in college, and obviously Jared's in a different stratosphere than most people with the NIL stuff because of all the off the court antics. But yeah, dude, that's a touchy thing because families they want to take. I mean, I understand you want to get all the money you can, and not give 15% of your money in these deals to an agent. But I believe there's so much value in having an agent and getting you the right deals and allowing you to navigate this space that can be confusing if you have no background in it. And so it's been awesome for Jared. And it's allowed him to focus on the main thing and he'll do his deals but he'll only have to spend an hour shooting it. Whereas maybe if it was me representing him, we're trying to cook up ideas for a Coca-Cola shoot or something, it's like it allows Jared to have tunnel vision and really just work on his game.
Yeah. We can honestly talk for like 2 more hours, but we really do. Yeah, we really do have to wrap it up.
So
we can do a part 2 as well, man. I enjoy talking with y'all.
Yeah, no, for sure. The last question I'm gonna leave the podcasters with is: if you were in high school and middle school at this time in this era, with the knowledge you have now, what are 2 or 3 things you would tell your younger self to focus on and have faith in?
Yeah, I think having habits and routines is huge. Like I got to, obviously watch Jared grow up, and that's what I feel like separated him the most. And working on the mental side of the game, meditating and writing down your goals and visualizing your success. I think that's a lot that gets lost in this whole thing. How important that side of stuff is. The physical stuff and working out is huge as well, but you got to have the right mental preparation as well. And so I that's what I would say. And whatever you think you're doing right now, like if you think you're working hard, work harder, dude. Because I thought I was working hard at when I was in school, and comparing myself to how Jared was working, like Jared was working out of 10, I was probably working out of 4. So just continue to develop those habits and routines and work harder.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We don't take this for granted, dude. We appreciate you taking this time for this episode. It was great. And again, we might have to take you up on that part too.
And if you're if you're in the area too, like if you're closer, like New York, maybe Philly, Boston, like we'd be down to do this in person as well. So.
Yeah, that would be fire. Yeah, bro, I'm so down, and I thank y'all for having us, man. I hope this was a solid episode for y'all.
No, this was amazing.
This was gold. It was gold. Definitely gold. We'll chop it up, put it on,
socials YouTube,
and stuff.
So
it'll
be
everywhere. Up there. But no, again, thank you for the time, and the Basketballists. Thank you guys for listening. We'll and again, we're gonna have a couple more interviews coming up and bringing guys like Jayce on this, and hopefully try to get some other important people here to impart knowledge and wisdom to you guys. And again, we thank you guys. Follow us. You want to give a quick shout out to your socials, if anything?
Yeah, I guess Jayce McCain on Instagram and Twitter, but yeah, y'all don't have to follow me, man. I love what y'all are doing though. Like y'all are very intentional about bringing wisdom to the basketball world and to the younger generation. So I appreciate y'all for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll see you guys soon. Peace out.
Yeah, peace.